Hi, it's Lisa, and I'm going to be decorating this mantle today. My store has been closed this week, and I'm working to try to get things back in order after putting all the Christmas things up. And so I'm going to start by decorating this mantle area, and I'm starting with a garland, and I don't know why I couldn't get this footage to load. But all I did on this garland was take a big long piece of jute, and I've tied it here to the front of my front desk, just so I had room to work and tie these strings on. Now this is just ripped up tea towels. Some of them I have coffee stain, and some I just left white. And that's all that I'm doing is just ripping strips and not really tying them on. You could tie them on, but as you can see here, I hold that loop open at the top, and then I pull the bottom through that loop. And that's all there is to it. And like I said, you can always tie them on if you would rather. I just feel like they hang a little better this way. Now you could just keep tying on until you get it as full as you want. And this is also some of the footage that I couldn't get to load. I don't know what was going on, but all I did was take these wood slices, and you can get these at Hobby Lobby, or if you have someone who's handy, or you can just very carefully cut your own. Just make sure when you cut your own that you work with wood that is already dried out, or they'll split on you as they're drying. Now I've taken some white craft paint and painted X's and O's on each of these. And now after I let that dry, I've flipped them over to the other side, and I'm just putting a heart. That way, no matter how it hangs, you're going to see something on the front, and you won't have just that blank wood slice. Also in that footage that I couldn't get to load was I had just taken a drill and drilled a little hole, because I'm going to be putting some jute through the top of these and tying these on to the garland. Now when you drill, I'm sure you know to take a block of wood and put it underneath it so you don't drill into your surface. In this case, it was my countertop here. Now, the good thing about hearts is, there's just a variety of shapes, and if you even want to make them uneven, then, that's just more of a primitive heart, and it works as well. So here I've tied as much of the string as I want. Now, you could also cut some strips of lace here. Just take an old lace curtain and cut strips. You can't rip that, of course, but you could cut strips and tie them on. And I didn't really measure my strips, and this is just a preference thing here. You can make them as short or as long as you want, and I do go back when I'm finished and just kind of even those strings up. Now, I'm just kind of putting these on in a pattern. I'm doing an X and an O and a heart, an X and an O and a heart, just so that they're evenly distributed. But then I'm just tying those in a pattern all the way down my garland, and just put them as close as you want. I wanted mine pretty close, but just tie as many of these on as you want. Now this is where you can get creative and tie just anything you want on. You could tie some wooden hearts or cloth hearts, or I've even put old bed springs on mine. It's not real easy to get a hold of those, and when you do, they're hard to cut off, so I don't do that very often, but I have made a few with them. You could also add different types of fabric. I like to use fabrics that I can rip, but, sometimes I have cut up things that couldn't be ripped. But I use a lot of the tea towels. I use a lot of muslin. You can use burlap here, but you would just have to cut strips. There's just a number of things that you could use at this point. but I wanted to keep mine neutral and pretty simple. I get a lot of orders for these garlands, and I try to tell people how simple they are to make. I mean, they really are. Just find scraps and tie them on, but, you know, they're maybe a little time consuming, as you can see, not very. But so here's my mantle. It's a primitive old mantle that I have in my shop. I tried to strip this mantle years ago. It was really white, and I tried to strip it and couldn't get it all the way stripped down, and was so pleased with where I did get it. Now this, I'm not even sure what you call this thing. It's the cast iron thing that goes in the fireplace. And my husband cut some strips of wood to go behind it, and I painted and distressed them, and I thought it would make a neat place to hang this heart. Now I'm going to do this heart later on. I just don't have the form for it right now. It's made of coffee filters. Now I like to put height on both sides of my mantle. I like to have something big in the center, and that's not completely necessary. You could also hang something on the wall, but I like to put something substantial in the middle, and then on both ends. And then you just kind of fill in your spaces at that point, being really careful not to get it too busy. I think it's very easy to get a mantle too busy. But I'm just going to add just a few things at this point. Now, this is a little Ray Dunn birdhouse. Now, I wanted to add some greenery to this because I do love my neutrals. But especially right after Christmas, I like kind of a fresh look. And so I'm going to add some greenery and distribute that greenery throughout this mantle. I apologize that I'm dressed like a bum today, and it's been rainy here in Tennessee, so ignore my hair also. But I wanted to get a video out, and I figured while I was here at the shop working, I may as well make a video as well. And I just add those little pieces there. And I feel like that's enough to keep it from being too busy. Now here is our garland we made, and I like to fold it in the center, and I just put screws because this is an old primitive mantle. So I just put a few screws in there, and I start with folding it in the middle and then putting that middle on my middle screw. And then all you have to do is secure those two sides, and you've got it. You've got your garland even. Now I think this makes a pretty mantle, and then you've got just that little touch of Valentine's Day without having it overdone. Honestly, this is something you could have year round. It really doesn't limit you to Valentine's Day. So I'll probably just leave this until it sells. So I at least have to sell enough of it that it doesn't look decorated anymore. Now I just put an old primitive bench here, and put me some a lace tablecloth draped over it to kind of bring that color down from the heart. And then I had made this little heart pillow from drop cloth, and I felt like that was enough to complete the look. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll try to get one on here tomorrow or the next day. Thank you for watching.